What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including CM Punk returning sooner than expected, a huge clue in the Uncle Howdy saga, a wrestler's criminal case is finished, another Fatu member WWE bound, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. As always, we won't recap the show, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, a terrific tournament. This year's King and Queen of the Ring tournaments have been a boon for the WWE, as the promotion has used them to anchor Raw and SmackDown. While the recent rash of injuries plaguing the tournament's participants is uncanny, everyone competing has worked hard to put over opponents and help elevate new talent and existing talent the WWE wants to push further. Number 2, Chad Gable drama continues. Chad Gable is finding new ways to alienate his Alpha Academy students, a situation that must have fans wondering what more abuse Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree will take. Chad Gable's slap to Otis was so hard that fans began tweeting about how vicious it looked, and it could be Otis's chance to turn into a single star. We'll just erase that whole Money in the Bank fiasco. Number 3, Lyra Valkyrie off to a good start. Lyra Valkyrie has made the most of her time in the ring following a call-up to Raw, and the WWE has been doing its part, teasing a potential alliance with Becky Lynch while also using the Queen of the Ring tournament to let fans know how capable she is. Number 4, Gunther is a man on a mission. Gunther continues to focus on winning the King of the Ring tournament with the same laser-guided precision that led him to becoming the IC champion. So far, the WWE has pushed the ring general well, following his title loss, reminding fans that it's not the title that makes the man. It'll be exciting to see how far Gunther goes in the tournament and whether he becomes King Gunther or ends up chasing after the World Heavyweight Championship. Number 5, McIntyre's misery is entertaining. Drew McIntyre is the most miserable man on the planet, and it's making for some terrific television. McIntyre can't compete due to his arm injury, but he's upped his already solid mic game, wallowing in pity as various wrestlers call him out for his whining. Last night's contest on the McIntyre Misery Hour was Damien Priest, who pointed out how Drew repeatedly stopped him from cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase on Seth Rollins. Like anyone who blames the world for their own problems, McIntyre didn't have much to say, which only makes his pity party more entertaining. Number 6, a fun Fatal 4-Way. Last night's Tag Team Fatal 4-Way was a fun match that was as much about forwarding Carlito's story about trying to join the Judgment Day as it was about crowning a new number 1 contender. The match worked on both levels, and now it'll be interesting to see whether Awesome Truth can hold on to the tag titles against the previous champions. And Lillian put Samantha over. It was great to see legendary ring announcer Lillian Garcia on Raw, as Lillian did the honors to introduce the Kofi Kingston vs Gunther match. Lillian looked and sounded spectacular and showed plenty of class by putting ring announcer Samantha Irvin over for the tremendous job she's done. The only question now is whether Garcia isn't in the WWE Hall of Fame. That was a good. What about the bad? Is number 1, some predictable matches. Raw was a solid show overall, but it did falter between some of the predictable matches such as Akira Tozawa vs Bronson Reed and Otis vs Sami Zayn. While both matches were largely about forwarding Chad Gable alienating his Alpha Academy students, the WWE could have been a little bit more creative. Number 2, AOP entrance is junk. Add AOP's entrance to the list of WWE music that makes dogs cry and fans search for the mute button on the remotes. The WWE needs to put Triple H in a room with these lousy songs playing in a continuous loop with the volume set to high. Now there was nothing downright ugly, another entertaining Raw that used the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments to build off while forwarding storylines and putting wrestlers over. A reminder of how focusing on the fundamentals can create constantly entertaining shows. What did you guys think of the Red Brand last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now first looks at a big reveal at the QR codes. Atop of today's news is a QR code on Raw that led to a series of mind-blowing clues for the WWE Universe to try and decrypt. The WWE Universe may see a big reveal this Thursday, as the latest QR code hinted at something big while also providing more insight into the motives besides the ongoing QR code mystery. A QR code appeared during the Io Sky vs Shayna Baszler match, and scanning it led to a website with the title Door containing 20 image files. Now we're not going to recap every image, but several caught our attention, including one featuring an article about a missing woman, that being image 18. The article mentions that a woman has gone missing and many notes were found in her home, with some fans speculating these are the notes seen in the various image files. The wrestling community noticed some creeptastic clues concerning the missing woman, with some fans noting a resemblance to storyline psychiatrist Rachel Bonnetta, who counseled a Fiend back in 2020 on a YouTube episode of Wrestling With Your Feelings on WWE's Fox channel. It's also been noted that the reporter for the article, Wendy Lucho, is an anagram for Uncle Howdy. Equally interesting is a message made up from the various images contained in some of the 20 files. Do you want to meet them? I set them free. I reminded him of who he was. I showed him lies. Now he shows his vision. It's beautiful. I have always been. They were trapped. I showed them how to open the door. They were all left alone. I opened the door. Now they're not alone anymore. Do you understand? If you have to ask what you aren't seeing, then you ain't looking. You don't see it, do you? What do you want to know? I'm all of us. It goes on for a little bit and then finally finishes off with, I finally know my purpose and everyone will see. Another picture clue of image 20 who shows various data storage devices including a hard disk with the note 5/16/24, 4 PM plus which. This has led to some debate about whether a message will air on Twitch. Fans have also pointed out that the file containing the 20 images is named 12/12/12, the same date that Eric Rowan debuted in the WWE as a member of the Wyatt family. This is turning out to be incredibly interesting. Next up, CM Punk returning sooner than expected. When will CM Punk be able to compete again following the surgery he underwent for his torn triceps? While fans originally heard Punk might be sidelined until at least September, Dave Meltzer recently reported on The Observer that Punk's not that far from being back most likely. If he had his surgery at the end of January, you're looking at the end of July, August, maybe September. It's not that far away anymore. He might make SummerSlam, and if he can make SummerSlam Punk and Drew for the title, that makes a lot of sense. Even if he can't, you can do it a month after. Punk will be back fairly soon. It's not as far as sometimes you think because of that surgery. Although the WWE would like to see Punk back sooner rather than later, it needs to remember that Punk's age and his history of injuries. It certainly shouldn't rush him only for him to get hurt again and miss more time. Next up, Cash Wheeler's criminal case is finished. As good news for FTR's Cash Wheeler's PW Insider's reporting that the state of Florida has decided not to pursue the aggravated assault with a firearm case against Wheeler. The Observer pointed out, the legal proceedings stem from an incident that took place in Orange County, Florida on July 27th of last year in which Cash Wheeler allegedly was in a road rage incident when he allegedly flashed a gun. Wheeler pleaded not guilty on all charges and was arraigned in August after a warrant for his arrest was filed. As Rose noted, Wheeler continued wrestling following the arrest. Next up, did Damien Priest slip past Censors? As mentioned earlier, Damien Priest's promo on Drew McIntyre was fire, as the current World Heavyweight Champion called McIntyre out for blaming everyone else for his shortcomings. The promo also caught fans' attention when Priest told Drew to look in the mirror and blame that asshole. Did Damien get past the Censors, or is this the latest example of WWE ditching its so-called PG rating? What do you guys think? Next up, another Fatu family member WWE bound? A good fan sees Zilla Fatu in WWE. He recently discussed his future plans during a chat with Joey Franchise. My family got a long history with WWE, so at the same time, I don't want to be the first Fatu or Anoa'i to go to AEW. I don't want to break that cycle, but it's just got to make sense because everybody's journey is different. My journey's different. My story was way different from Solos, from the Usos, from Roman and Jacob Fatu. So my story, I got a whole nother chapter. I'm sitting on a whole nother side of the table. When do you guys think Zilla will end up in WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, The Undertaker's advice for WWE. Last but not least, how does Taker think the WWE can improve its product? The Phenom addressed this on his 6 Feet Under show saying, there really is no kayfabe or secret to anything anymore, so how far do you push the envelope? I mean, Rock obviously helped that because he's the biggest star in the world, right? I mean, he has his hands in everything, but I don't really know. I don't have a clear thought. While kayfabe is over, fans seem to enjoy a wrestling show more when it makes them forget that the matches are predetermined. Taker chimed in on what he thinks could help the WWE. Personally, I'd like to see a little edgier product because that's what I did. That's what my era for the most of my career was about. So as a nostalgia piece, I guess, I'd love to see a little more edgier content, a little more physicality, like Rough House physicality. Not that what they're doing isn't physically demanding, it's crazy physical, but I'm just talking about wanting to see more fist fights and a little less dancing. That was kind of what the Attitude Era was about, I'm sure. Well, there still was some dancing, as who could forget Too Cool and Rikishi. But there you have it, folks, our look at Raw as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.